Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of Coffee Pixel. Today, we have the honor of interviewing someone I've known for quite some time. And I've learned a lot of things from this man. He is an awesome designer, photographer, and all around entrepreneur, the creator of Glamorous Living Kids. I'm very blessed to call him my friend. Please, everybody, welcome Christian Thompson, everybody.
What's going on? I thought I needed a cool intro, so how you doing? Justin, I appreciate that intro, man. That was wonderful, and honestly, one of the closest friends I've got, and I appreciate you throughout the years, man. So,
Yeah,
all
man.
there, bro. Like you said, I'm Christian Thompson. I am the creator of Glamorous Living Kids. I have been doing this brand since 2006. We're currently with 2024, so it's been some time. I've had a great time doing it. Started out of high school, and it's gotten me to a lot of cool places with photography and design, kind of mixing around with the clothing as well. So let's jump into this, man. I'm glad to be on this show. Let's get to it.
First question that I have, which is pretty much, I'm sure it's the most obvious question. What got you into designing? What was the bug that made you go, I have to do this?
That's a great question. Like, the bug that bit me to get into design was in high school, and I was in advanced placement art. And like, we had a whole thing of like, oh, you have to create a portfolio for the end of the year to showcase and all that. And I didn't know what designing was at this time. I was just making words and like drawing like graffiti and like writing like a caption under it. And, I was doing a lot of that stuff, like exploring like different styles of art in art class. And I had a buddy who always would sit next to me. Shout out to Isaiah on EX. That's what's up. And he would like say, yo, man, you know what you're doing right now? That's graphic designing, kind of. You're kind of going down that route. And I had no idea what it was. So my curiosity was like, what is graphic designing? I started Googling graphic designing, researching stuff like this. And this was before like we had all the cool design websites. So you'd go on like graphic designing, and schools will pop up, and you're just like, I don't know what that even is. And it was just like, I got into it just out of straight curiosity. Like, I loved type, I loved graffiti, I loved like adding little details to stuff. And I always wanted to kind of transition to like doing like a clothing brand one day. Like, I remember being a kid, and that's always been like my passion. And be like, oh, I want to do clothing. And so graphic designing kind of came as like a instinctive nature, but not knowing it was my instinctive nature to be a designer.
I have this thing I toss around in my brain where I hear in conversations people like, talent doesn't exist. And I'm like, good God, man. I think that people are looking at talent the wrong way.
It's
like, I think that people are looking at talent from the skill perspective. Skill is always going to be necessary for anything you do, down to making sandwiches for yourself. Like, that's a skill. Like, it's something that you can have the dexterity enough to do. Right. So, but with us artists, we see something and our brain fires and goes, ooh, what is that?
Right.
You know what I mean? That is your talent. That's your talent. It's the beacon that draws you to that thing. Talent is literally a voice that calls out to you, and only you and others like you can hear it.
Right.
That's what talent is.
Right.
And then on top of that, talent is the will to continue to do this. Like, I don't know about you, but when I'm not able to draw, I get irritated. When I'm not able to create, I get in bad moods. Like, I'm like sitting there like, yo, like I have no outlet. I have no way to communicate. It feels like I'm in a box. But when I draw, it feels like all of it releases. I get relaxed. I get in the zone. You know what I mean? Like, that's talent, not the skill. The skill comes with the talent, but the talent is the knack to continue, the thing that draws you to it, that beacon, like I was referring to. Like, that is what talent is. When you hear that call, or you see that line, or you see that design, that makes you go, oh my God.
When you have that natural feeling for something that's in you, and you maybe you can't describe it or put it into words, but naturally that's something. Like, someone can be really good at being physically athletic, or someone could be really good with words, or someone could be really good with painting. It's just one of those things that like you just instinctively just have this natural God-given gift to be really good at something. And for me, when I get like those days where it's tough with art, to be honest, I've had to learn a huge lesson. And that lesson was, let art be free. Like, don't put any rules on the art. I'll have days where I'm in here in the studio and I'm printing shirts, and shirts are messing up, and I've got heat press stuff messing up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is frustrating.
Yeah.
This is not only just my art, but it's also my business. I want it to be good.
Hmm.
And I have to realize, like, you know what, let art have that freedom of being a mess up, or of being
Hmm.
not perfect, because you're creating, like in the process
Hmm.
of creating, we can't expect perfection. It's just creating, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And it's coming from imperfected beings. We're not perfect beings. We're imperfect, like we're imperfect. So the reality for our artwork is if it's imperfect, it's just the way that it needs to be. It's
Yeah.
kind of like those like Bob Ross used to say, those happy accidents. It makes these things interesting. It
Yeah.
does. Like when you look at a Van Gogh painting, or you look at like uh, like even like a line decker or something,
Mm,
it's them because they're the ones who can only do that particular style in that particular way.
right.
Even if you
Right.
like learn from them,
Right.
they're still going to draw like they draw because that's their soul. Like that's their imprint on their work.
Hmm.
It's going to be shit at the beginning. Like it's just a part of the process. You got to trust it. Like
Right.
eventually it'll take shape, but but you got to let it get there.
What did what's that quote on Adventure Time? I think it's like Jake, or Jake said something like, "You gotta suck at something first to be good at it."
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
paraphrasing, but like
yeah.
it's
He's
true.
like, you know
You gotta
what?
suck at
To get
something.
really good at something, you have to suck at it.
You have to suck at it. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
like
trying my
it's
best.
true.
Like, it's okay. You'll get there.
Yeah, yeah. It's a part of the process, man. But
Yeah.
yeah, like that. I feel like that's the calling. Like when you hear that, like that bell, and you look at something and you go, ooh, whether it be color palette, whether it be uh like different art, like different archetypes of art, like
Hmm.
typography, whether it be background design, set design,
Yeah.
character design. Like
Yeah.
if you see it and it makes your brain go, whoa, that you're talented, you're
Right. That's
gifted
what
in
it takes.
seeing that,
Yeah.
and you have the ability to see something that most people around you don't. Like when I see somebody do line work, I get excited. My wife ain't getting excited over no line work.
Dude, don't take me to a restaurant, because I will analyze the type on the menu, and I'm like,
Yeah,
right here, this font right
yeah.
here, I would never choose this font. Or I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a beautiful layout. Do you see the columns in this? Do you see the gutter?
Yeah,
Oh my goodness, it's beautiful.
yeah,
Don't take
yeah.
me to a restaurant. I will sit and analyze every little thing.
And that's what talent is, man. It's being the weirdo and going, yeah, I don't like that color.
I don't
I,
like
I
that.
would I wouldn't have chose that color for that character. Nah,
That's the wrong composition for this. Mm-mm.
yeah.
No,
Who drew those shoes? Why are those shoes like that? I was
no.
playing this game called Forspoken.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible game, by the way. And no disrespect to the people
Call
who
it out.
created them.
They're
Sorry. I'm
terrible.
pretty if they ever in life see this interview, no disrespect, but the game was terrible.
Years down the
And
road, they're like, what?
no, no disrespect, but the game was not my cup of tea. The shoe design on that,
Yeah,
horrendous, horrendous. I was like, come on, man. Like
right.
out of all the designs, I'm pretty sure they did a million shoe designs. Like
Hmm.
that's it's a part of the gig. And those shoes was the best that they can come up with. Like when we're off this interview, I'm gonna send you a picture of them shoes.
What are those?
I'm gonna send you a picture. I'm gonna text you a picture of them shoes.
What
And
are
I'm
those?
like, yo, out of all the designs of shoes that you
Yeah,
guys could have created,
right.
y'all went with these.
They lackluster on the shoes, man.
Bruh. like bruh. Like I was just like, yo, so we can't change the shoes. And then like in the game, she was like, these are my lucky shoes. These are my great shoes. These are the shoes.
Uh,
Like basically telling us we can't change them damn shoes. I was
Goodness,
like, oh,
all
hey,
bad.
dirt. Like it was terrible. Who are some core influences that shape the way that you view like the fashion that you
Mm,
produce?
mm. I would say some core influencers that shape the way I view fashion. Off the top, Pharrell Williams. Uh,
Uh
yeah, Pharrell Williams, Virgil Abloh, Kanye, Jerry Lorenzo. Those kind of like are my, archetype pillars, because they all had like an individualism. They all had their
Ah,
own way of like creating. Like I like the way that Pharrell kind of wasn't just music. He was fashion. He was, furniture. He was all kind of different things. I think as artists and creatives, that's where we should be going. Like we shouldn't be like pigeonholed just one way or like one style of doing one thing. We should kind of explore different stuff and try it out. You just never know if you're good at designing furniture or designing like plates and houses. You just never know. Just try it out and see how it goes. I know designing a house might be crazy expensive, but try out
yeah,
things. I like that. Like I think each person that I called out kind of had their own way of doing it in their own style. Um, Virgil Abloh had his own way of like taking a very expensive product from like Louis Vuitton and making it a very cultural streetwear piece. That wasn't seen before in a way. Like the culture was there, the luxury goods were there, but they weren't truly connected or married until really like Virgil found that way to like truly marry them that way. So, I think those are my people that I kind of emulate when it comes to looking at like fashion and clothing and art and things like that.
yeah. You touched on something that is like, I feel like all artists should know. Don't drink from only just one well.
Right.
Don't just like take from everything, even if it's not applicable to your craft. Take from everything.
Yeah.
Look at like in my case, look at how sculptors sculpt, and it may give you a very clear understanding as to creating value structures with your character designs. Or
Right.
look at how interior designers um assess color theory and how they set up a room and get that feng shui going, and then say, hey, maybe I can add those particular color palettes to my character design or to my background or set piece or whatever I'm doing. It's always very, very it I feel it's always very, very smart to work outside of your box, because you're always going to put in your box what is necessarily not in it. Because a lot of people are like, okay, I only have these particular tools, and then
Mhm.
they pigeonhole themselves to using only those tools to try to create new things.
Right.
Denzel Washington said his wife said something, and I've been living by this code since I've heard it.
Hmm.
If you want different results, you're gonna have to try new things.
Yeah.
The only way to get different results is going into different places and areas. That's the only way to do it. You can't get different results with the same techniques. It doesn't work. You can utilize your foundations for sure, but I feel like everything is back to one with the foundations. But when it comes to like including other new archetypes into your catalog, so to speak,
Hmm.
that's very important to sip from other wells, dude. Like I can't, like, people hit me all the time and say, "Hey, what type of brushes are you using for your line work?" And I'm like, it varies. Like I can use a textured brush, a smooth brush. It
Right.
just varies. Like
Yeah.
it like, because before, when the artist told me it varies, I was like, no, it doesn't. You get that particular texture off of that,
One
and that's
brush,
what makes
one
you
brush,
draw.
please.
That's what makes you draw that way. And then people are like, no, you can use a round brush to achieve these factors. But what I've learned, though, that they don't say, and I will give this away, no gatekeeping on mine. And that's like 2024, no gatekeeping. Um, I will say that a round brush is not going to give you the same feel as a textured brush.
Y'all
So
better take
like,
notes.
yeah. So when they out here saying that this particular thing can give you the same, like, can give you the same result as this particular thing, it's not true, guys. Don't believe it. Like, just don't believe it, because it's not true. Like, it may be harder to achieve with another brush, and I'm pretty sure it may be able to be achieved,
Hmm.
but they're not using that. Like, they're not using an untextured brush and designing their own textures by pixel. Like, that's not how they're doing that. They're
Right.
finding a textured brush and they're using it. Some of these things they don't tell you. They'll sit there and be like, "Oh no, it doesn't matter what brush you use." Yes, it does.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does. It matters. Like I'm sure for you, the types of inks that you print on shirts are different. Either if it's water based inks, because I took a class for screen printing. So
Right.
like knowing how to block a screen out,
Yeah.
knowing how to what do you call that? Cure a screen.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So
Emulsion.
like
Yeah.
yeah, emotion, all that. So like I took a class like when I was in high school,
Nice.
and they taught us about like oil-based inks, water-based inks. How do you know what type of quality to provide your customers? Like,
Yeah. You know, I have been doing this for some time now, like since 2006, and I honestly would just make t-shirts and give them to friends, or make, you know, a couple shirts, wear them myself, and I just get feedback. And I'd say, hey, how did that shirt feel after you washed it? How did that feel when you first put it on? How's the design doing? Is it holding up still? And honestly, that was like that research and development phase. And that is always an ongoing thing. It's always continuous. And once you start hearing kind of like the common things like, oh, I feel like this shirt's maybe it's too thick, or this shirt's too thin, or the design didn't hold up that well, or the design is great, it feels fantastic. You know, like you kind of take those things, you kind of like adjust as you're creating and going. Like one of the biggest things I've always been asked is like, oh, what kind of shirts do you have? Are they like the thin shirts, or like the thicker, close to your neck kind of t-shirts? And you know, you kind of like see where your client base is like leaning more towards. If they're leaning more towards like the more comfortable, casual, relaxed, like t-shirt that I'm wearing, where it's more relaxed, it kind of drops on the shoulders just a bit. You know, you start going in that direction, and you start, you know, maneuvering. All right, and I have this shirt base. What goes good with this? Does this material work with this kind of ink or treatment, or does it do well with heat press? Does it do better with, you know, embroidery? You know, you ask those questions, but you kind of have a foundation of like where you're at and what you want to create and evolve from there. Like for me, I personally love a thicker t-shirt, because I like my shirts to feel like a shirt and not just like a little thin mint t-shirt. You know? I don't like that thin t-shirt feel. So I
like you on the beach with the
know?
on the beach with the Fabio t-shirt.
Show a little too much.
Look like a Jodeci video.
All right. Got a sweat stain here, you know.
Yeah, oh god. Under the arms too.
Yeah, underarms is messed up, you know. Nah, I
hey
can't
girl, how's it going? Oh god. Do you work out?
Dude, I don't know if you remember this phase. This is like maybe 2000s, when everyone's wearing like deep V-neck t-shirts.
Oh my god.
I hated that.
I remember my mom. I remember my mom going, y'all wearing the V-necks, right? I'm like, what? She's like, the V-necks, like it's like it's instead of like a collar, there's like a V in your shirt.
Yeah.
Isn't that what's going on with the kids? I was like,
man,
it may be going on with them, but it ain't going on.
It ain't happening here. It ain't happening here. I don't even lie, bro. I had a couple of V-necks.
My mom bought me one V-neck. My mom bought me one V-neck, and I wore it in the house. Yeah. And I was like, this ain't for me.
Bro.
Like it just ain't for me. Like some people, I'm pretty sure, like they work out and they do all that other crazy stuff. And even then, when I was younger, I was fit. I was just like, this is weird. Like it's not for me. I tried it out and I was like, yeah, this is for somebody else. Everybody and their mama was wearing it though.
Bro, it was like those trends that you like as a clothing, you gotta consider, like, are V-necks in? Do I start making V-necks?
Yeah. You know? Yeah. That sucks for you, because
I'm like, oh, damn, V-necks are back. I gotta start making V-necks again, like the deep ones. You know, you see the belly button.
The Jennifer Lopez V-neck all the way down to your belly button.
Like, why? Like, it's not even a shirt.
There's somebody out there who pressed over 100 V-neck shirts who still got them.
Someone's holding on to their V-necks. The last thread is hold on. It's like, I still love these V-necks, y'all.
Somebody got them in their storage right now, sitting in their studio. They gonna watch this interview and be like looking at the V-necks in the corner.
Can't use. And I feel bad. I'm probably like clowning someone who's like loving V-necks. Like, I just love V-necks. Like, I'm sorry, man. Like, they're not in. Let them go.
V-neck Nation. I wonder if I Google V-neck Nation, bro. I wonder if you Google. I wonder if they still sell V-necks.
You can get you a V-neck if you like. I don't think.
Oh God,
you can get one.
Yo, like if you see me wearing a V-neck on my next podcast,
I'm like, bro,
on the next video, like, what's up with it, girl? My wife will be like, bro.
Just randomly wear a V-neck, like a cheap one. How you doing? What's for dinner?
Just come downstairs in a V-neck. My wife's like, what are you doing?
Where'd you get that shirt?
Hot topic. The next question I have for you is what cultural elements, if any, do you tie to your designs?
What cultural elements do I tie to my designs? I can't say that I tie too many cultural ones, but I think if you do look at some of my pieces, I do tie in a little bit more spiritual stuff. Like
Okay.
one of my favorite designs, more like popular designs, was the All Love No Hate t-shirt that I made probably a few years ago. And it said All Love No Hate, like really big old English letters, and the O's were actually like roses. And so at the bottom of that was a message, and it was the Corinthians. Love is kind, love is gentle.
Mm-hmm.
The typical Corinthians verse you hear at like weddings. So
Yeah.
like that was a really popular design, but I take a lot of inspiration from like scripture, and I throw it into my designs. And it's interesting because they're like really positive and they fit within like the times, but like it's from the Bible. A lot of people
Yeah.
don't like think or know that. And so it's like really cool to see people like react to like, oh, that's really positive. And I go, ah, that's cool. I just got it from scripture, you know. And it works my designs pretty well. Like this soul design that's up there. I can't read the actual. I should know this by top of my heart. Oh my gosh, it's my art. I can't read the actual caption, but it's one of those like, will a man sell such and such to gain a soul? Someone who knows scripture can quote me on that. They'll figure it out. But
Yeah.
I would say I tie a lot of stuff into my design. It's more scripture based. That is from my own personal background, like growing up reading scripture and my family just believing in the Most High and always reading the Bible together. So those kind of things are influenced within my design.
See, I think that's always like a lot of people shy away. Like when people talk about God, they're like, oh my God, like they shy away from it. That to me, that's scary. Like I find that to be very scary. And the reason, like I'm not like, so people have categories of religious like areas within religion, and people
Right.
just altogether go, I'm not talking about religion at all.
Yeah.
And me as a person, and I grew up in the word. Like I grew up that way. And understanding that scripture is literally our lives, basically, and what we go through. And some of these people, I don't know where to turn. Open the book. Oh, just open the book and read.
Open the book.
It doesn't mean you have to be out here doing what you see in media. Like you don't have to do that. Like just open a book. It'll tell you certain avenues of what to do when you're in those positions.
Mm-hmm.
It'll do that. It'll tell you that.
Right.
And it'll give you solutions to problems that you probably didn't even think of.
Right.
And you're like, oh, well, that's how you think about that, or that's how you like induct that into your life, and it progresses. Most people think it's more of a ties that bind type of situation, as to where I think, like I said, sip from different wells, where I think that it's a book that allows us humans to act correctly.
Act right.
It's just a guide on how to be a better human.
Yeah,
that's just yes. It's literally beyond the biblical aspects of what the Bible is. It literally is a manual to be like, be better, do better, and as a result, other people around you will feel that.
Be an example of doing good, doing better.
Yes,
people will see that and emulate that. Yeah,
it happens in social media all the time. All the time. The most successful people within social media are the rich ones. You look at rich people as if they crack some type of code, when in turn they don't even have to be good people to make money. You don't even have to be a good person to make money. They're so intelligent. I've met some rich dumb people. Like
how you got money.
Like, yeah, like I used to do real estate. I met some rich dumb people, like people who were literally out of the loop of personability, out of the loop of knowing how to speak to someone's sensibilities, being a people person. No, they're just good at numbers. They're just good at their job.
Once again, that skill talent thing.
Yeah.
Everyone's got their thing. They're probably good at numbers. And
Yeah.
figure out how to make money right now. Okay.
Yeah. Like they know how to play the game, and make no mistake, making money is a game. It's literally a game. They created the rules. Like there's rules to this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Business of being an artist.
Yeah. So it's the age-old question as an artist. Does going to school make you a better artist? It's not a clear yes. There is no clear yes. No artist can tell you yes in a definitive way. They can't. They have to tell you, well, it depends. Because what you're getting from school may not be what you get from practical application. And and we as artists know this one simple rule. Nothing teaches you more than experience.
Mm-hmm.
Not a book, not nothing you read, not nothing you heard. Practical application is always better than reading some book.
We need to know the business side of creating, because we can create all day, which is our gift. We can do it. There's a business end of it too that we should also start learning and honestly applying to what we're doing. Like you said, is college worth it as an artist? Like it varies, it depends on what you're doing. You can go to college for like networking and learning like really technical skills, but then you have to apply that to the real world regardless of how skilled you are in school. So it's all those little variables, man. I totally hear what you're saying.
Yeah, that's the thing about the side of creativity that people don't really want to talk about, because like there's several different backgrounds of faiths within the creative hemisphere. Within us as creatives, there's several different backgrounds in faiths, but the main thing that resonates with hopefully everyone is to treat everyone kindly. That's it. You know what I mean? Like that's
you be cool, I'll be cool.
Yeah.
Me, I won't mess with you.
Yeah. What you believe is of no consequence. What you practice and what you believe is of no consequence. You know what I mean? As long as it doesn't affect other people negatively because of your views and makes other people feel bad about their views and all that stuff, every conversation should be accepted in that particular stance. Because I'm sure there's several different people working on certain projects that they don't necessarily believe in, and they have to have a check. So,
bro,
so
they have a check part.
Yeah, they gotta have a check. Like work.
I get paid.
You got to get a check. So
These
at the end of the day, now don't do anything that's gonna betray how you believe. But at the same time, there's just things in life you're not gonna agree with, and that's fine. It's completely fine.
Your battles, man. Like picking and choosing. Yeah. Stand on this hill and die for, really.
Yeah.
So everyone's got their things.
The next question I have, before we get too long in the tooth about that one, because that's a topic of mine that I'm like, we could talk for ages on.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like, I feel like people need to know, like, if you're the type of cat that's looking at somebody weird because of how they think and feel, and you haven't even gone into how, like, what they think is like the context of it, if you haven't gone into it and studied it, then I'm sorry you can't form an opinion about something else if you didn't like do your due diligence on that particular topic. You know what I mean? So that's why I tell people, like, before you be like, here's my 2 cents. Like, hopefully your 2 cents comes with some education.
It's only 2 cents.
hey, I'm just saying, if you're gonna give your 2 cents, I don't mind anybody's 2 cents. All money is good here.
Come with a whole lot, then we'll talk.
Yes, but please come with some education behind that 2 cents. At least, I don't want an opinion. I want education. I want to understand that you know what you're talking about, opposed to you think you know what you're talking about.
But I love hearing opinions and then deciding for me whether or not if it works. So like, I love people like, oh, Chris, your t-shirts are too thick. And I go, that's nice. All right. Appreciate you. Okay. I'll take into consideration.
And then you got another customer going, man, I love these shirts.
I love these thick t-shirts. You go,
all
right,
good, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same expression.
What are you to do as a person who provides that type of service for somebody? Yeah. You can't always meet the needs of everyone. So you have to find like a happy medium that allows you to produce these types of things for your clients, right?
Yeah, Kendrick said it best. Can't please everybody. You do what you can.
My mom always said that. I was like, what if you can't do something to the best of its ability? Like, what if you can't
Mm-hmm.
like meet that requirement?
Yeah,
She looked at me and was like, baby, you do what you can.
do what you can. That's all you
And
can
I
do.
was like,
You can.
huh. And my mom was like, if people love you and they respect you, then they'll accept the best you can do. They'll accept it.
Right.
But if people want to tell you that it's not good enough, then those aren't your people. I was like, oh, all right.
Good
I was like,
wisdom.
appreciate that information.
That's good.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it's true. Like we hold ourselves to everyone else's standard. We're not looking at what we think is awesome and what we think is cool.
Right.
Like I'm not gonna tell, like, my son comes up to me excited about a picture he drew. I'm an artist. You know what I mean? Like, that's me. Like, I'm an artist. That's like me telling my son, who's excited to show me what he did in school, and going, that's trash. He's 5 years old, by the way.
Put an art director's son and be like, no, so the lines here, son, are too thick. You gotta thin them out.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, son, contrast. He doesn't even know how to spell. He doesn't even know how to read yet.
He's all, Dad, I drew a tree. Like, well, it's not actually a tree, son. So your composition's a little shaky here.
Yeah. You need to work on your composition. You need to work on your your line weight. There's so much you need to work on, son. Come back to me when you figured the foundations out, and then we can talk about that tree. Like no, like everything has its place.
Yeah.
Everything should have its place, and I feel like a lot of people. Good God.
I can't wait till I have a son. I'm doing that. Like, when he hits 7 years old, he's like, Dad, I drew a house. I'm like, well, it's not a house. I can't wait. I'm gonna critique my son's work. That's the thing.
You get the harsh critique.
Right. He's gonna be good at like 12 because like our critique so hard. I'm like, yeah, you gotta get better.
He's gonna be going hard with them crayons, bro.
Right.
He's gonna be the only kid in school with draftsmanship out the ass, like
getting scholarships out here.
reading architectural books on how houses are built. Like,
schematics and everything.
Hey, what happened to you? My dad said my house wasn't a house.
That's set the perspective.
I'll show him. I'll show him.
Yeah, I'll show him.
I'll show him.
He'll
rue the day he told me this wasn't a house. The next question I have for you is what are some setbacks or challenges you find common when people are first starting out?
I think some setbacks or challenges a lot of people have when first starting out. I think it's not being discouraged when things aren't going smoothly. I think a lot of artists or small business owners, when they first start out, they have everything in the world to happen. You know, like when I started out, I didn't have anywhere to print shirts. I had all these cool designs, and then I tried to do it at home, and it didn't work out. And I drew on a lot of shirts and pants, and wanted to screen print, and didn't have the equipment. Like all kind of things, would come and just kind of be like roadblocks. So it's that not being discouraged is one of the things I would say a lot of artists should kind of like keep in mind. Like you're not gonna like start off out the gate with like everything going smoothly unless you got the money for it. You know what I'm saying? But you've got to kind of be patient with yourself and have grace as far as like, okay, this didn't go the way I wanted it, but we're going to try again another way. We're going to try again this way. Resources, and I'd say networking and like having a community. When I first started the brand, there wasn't even Facebook, actually. There wasn't MySpace, there wasn't Facebook, there wasn't Instagram, obviously. There wasn't the social media like we have today, where I could reach out to like 1,000 influencers or 1,000 people and just talk to them that way directly. It was like, hey, friends around me, I have a clothing brand. Can you tell your friends about my clothing brand as well? Here's a shirt, and, here's a card, some stickers. And you go to shows and events and talk to more people. And then you go to another show and talk to more people. And then you do a pop-up and it's local friends and stuff like that. So it was, when I started, the growing process was a little bit slower than what it is now, because there's a lot of like guerrilla tactics.
Mhm.
like you'd had to go out and, talk to people and be at the shows and have product and network like night and day and night. So I'd
Oh
say
man.
like all the artists now kind of have the blessing of the internet and being like, all right, let me just like post my stuff, make a reel about my stuff, talk about my stuff, use these hashtags, kind of sell merch to influencers, go to events and shows and pop-ups and markets and galleries. And I think that's dope. So I think a lot of artists kind of got to remember that, like build your community, because in the beginning, without a community, it's very hard to get noticed. It's very hard to have people kind of, in a sense, be your support system, your cheerleading squad in the background, showing other people your work. It's one of those things I think is a challenge with starting off with anything, any kind of business really, unless you have the resources established or you're starting a second business with the lead from the first business.
I think the problem with social media nowadays is there's so many options, but at the same time, those options may not lead anywhere. It's like what we were talking before. You
Right.
invest money into these options, and usually it's either something you've already been like privy to, or it's something that just doesn't work for you. And it's like, now I don't even know what I'm doing or what I'm getting, and I'm being sold low-key snake oil. Um, like
Snake
everybody,
oil right here.
yeah, because
We're here
everybody's
every
like, I got the remedy, I got the gas over here, baby. I'm I'm the guy. They opening up their
what you
jackets.
need.
Yeah, I got what you need, brother. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And you buy it and you apply it, and it just doesn't work for you. You know what I mean? So like, what are some like core things that you found with what you do that is like go-tos and staples in how you do what you do?
I think there's two parts to that question in a sense. I think there is that part where you would have to say, invest into yourself and go get that snake oil sometimes. And you get to see if it works. You never know. The snake oil could cure what you're looking for,
Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know. So I think there is those moments where like, okay, this might be a risky investment for me as an artist to go buy, say for example, if I'm a painter, it might be a risky investment for me to go buy a larger canvas that's custom made because I potentially want to sell something and I don't have the resource to really buy it, but
Mhm.
I can kind of put some scratch together to do it, and go do that, and hopefully it sells. Or with a clothing brand, like, oh, I don't really know if I have the resources to go take a class from another, entrepreneur clothing brand designer who's successful to give me knowledge that I can hopefully use that hopefully I don't already know. It's like those are risks that you have to take with being an artist or being a business. I think that's what we got to consider. Like there are risks that are out there, but I do think we should go out there and try these things and fail to learn on our own. So when those say snake oil people come around,
Mhm.
we know better not to take the snake oil.
Yeah, yeah.
I go
So
out
you
there
just
and experience the failure of, like for my example, for myself, I go out and experience the feeling of say doing a pop up and
Mhm.
the pop up fails or the market fails, and honestly sit back and look at like why did I fail? What like why isn't this working? Why didn't I sell? Why didn't people come to the booth? You take that, and then the next time you do a show, you're coming like 1,000 times better. You've scaled up, and people are like, I just think this is a store. This thing is beautiful. I love what you created. And in your mind, you're like, thank you, but I went through hell to be here.
yeah,
you
yeah,
know? So
yeah.
that's truly how I see that, honestly, like just take that experience and go out there, fail, try, do better, grow. But at the same time, also take the risk of seeing if there are people out there with the knowledge that can, help you and guide you to what you're trying to do. Like I used to have an old friend who unfortunately passed away that I saw as a mentor. And he would just kind of take me under his wing and show me a lot of stuff. And I went to his house constantly just to talk with him. And he wasn't like, say, the biggest clothing brand out there in a sense, but he really knew his stuff. And in today's world, he could have created classes and taught hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah.
I took in a sense that I had a friend who knew the business, who knew how to make it, and so I always latched onto what he was doing and learned from him. And so unfortunately when he passed, I kind of was, obviously sad, but I thought like, he gave me a lot of knowledge, it's time that I take the knowledge and become that person for someone else, like the younger version of me.
My mentor was a guy by the name of Dane Henry.
Mm,
And I still talk to him to this day. Very incredible artist. Like he's a like I can't sing his praises enough because he was like the only one around that time that would actually take the time to teach me. You know, and he didn't charge me a dime. Like he didn't charge me a dime. Like he just was like, as long as you're willing to show up, like I'll help you. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Because he loves art and that's his thing. And he was the one who gave me that mentality. Like he showed me you don't have to charge people to to teach. You don't have to like he was making his money, he was making his bread. You know what I mean? Like,
that's good.
and that's like he was good. So he was like, if I'm good, then if you show up, I'll teach you. You know
Right.
what I mean? Because like, and I ended up interning at his spot up here. Long time. This was like 2008,
Hmm.
2009 type of situation. Um, and it was called Attraction Industries up here. And I would be there I would even sleep overnight there sometimes. Just like they would have sketch nights, sketch sessions. We'd play
Yeah,
video games.
yeah.
Like basically it was a studio of like they did a lot of outsourcing. They did a lot of character design, animation there, website design, and all that stuff there. And I literally slept in that studio just learning
Mm,
from them. You know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I feel like that type of tutelage and mentorship with people, and then understanding like back then we didn't have these and it makes us sound old as fuck, like, but we're not. You know,
We're
like we're
not
not
old.
like anyone like watching this is like we're not old.
We're
It's
not
just
old.
that those in between times, like it was
Yeah.
before Instagram got popping. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, because if you think about it, 2010 to 2010 to 2024 is only 14 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's only 14 years. So like you take like let's be real. You take 14 years off my life, I'm young as shit.
Dude, 14 years back, foolish.
Yeah, like I'm like a young dumb person. You know what I mean? Like you take 14 years off my life, I'm young and stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like so it's like
I'm like, yo, I'm a wazoo. You
yeah,
know,
you know what I mean?
wow,
Like cats be like, "Oh, you're 35 and be on some Kevin Hart shit." Damn. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like come
Sorry.
on, man. I ain't Don Cheadle. Like get out of here. Like so disclaimer for anybody who's like, "Yeah, back when they were coming up, there was nothing." It's fucking
I know. I was like, yeah, before MySpace, dang. But I'm like,
it was
dude, that wasn't
desert.
that long ago.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. Like you look at MySpace or you look at when Facebook was popping, like that's literally like 10 years ago.
Yeah. Like,
It
it's
like
not
that's
that long.
yeah, that's a video game cycle. Like that
It
like
goes fast.
yeah, video game the PlayStation 4 hold on, like the PlayStation 4, if I'm not mistaken, came out. When did the PlayStation 4 release?
Good question.
2013.
Yeah.
Like people still have PlayStation 4s.
If it's a good console, I mean, why not, keep it? So,
Yeah, it's like almost
yeah.
10 years ago. It was
Yeah.
literally almost like 10, it was a little over 10 years ago. Like, it's not that like 10 years ago I was young and dumb. Like
I mean, think of it like this, man. Instagram itself came out, I think, 2009,
yeah,
2010, right? And then,
yeah.
like, it's only been 14 years, but look at our lives now, kind of without
Mm-hmm.
Instagram. As much as I'm not a big fan of social media, like, I need social media and I understand what it can be used for. And I'm like, I can't, in a sense, run a brand and be an artist and put out artwork that no
Mm-hmm.
one's going to see if I'm not online. So we
It's
kind
like
of like need social platforms, but that wasn't the thinking
mm-hmm.
14 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Like so yeah, that's the I've always like that's the disclaimer. Like we're not it's not like when you're coming up as an artist and you're trying to figure out information and it's not readily available to you and and now you only have the people around you to really give you that like sense of scope or like where I'm at and where I'm placed in notoriety, popularity, all this other stuff.
Hmm.
Like at the end of the day, it does come down to word of mouth. Like even with social media, it comes down to word of mouth. Most of the followers I've gained was because I did shows. It was literally because I was out there selling my art at cons. It had nothing to do with growing on the platform. If you're waiting to grow on an Instagram platform, good Lord,
You gotta get out. I don't
you
know
have
what
to get out, dude.
but you have to get
You
out. Like,
can't depend on those platforms, dude. Like because those platforms are not going to give you the reach or the grow that you need unless you feed them, and you got to feed them dumb amounts of money, like to
people have
advertise.
to experience what you're
Mm-hmm.
creating. You
Oh
can't
yeah,
experience a piece of artwork on the phone the way it feels if you experience it in person. You got
yeah.
to now start talking to people and doing shows and networking with other creatives in face to face, in person.
Mm-hmm.
Got to.
Because it's a different vibe. It's a
Yeah,
different. They might buy something from you because they like you,
right,
not
right.
because they like your work that much. Like they may like your work and be like, "Oh, this is interesting," but then when they meet you, they're like, "I really like this person's work."
This guy's
Because
cool.
not only are they producing that, but they're a good person, and that
Yeah,
is hard to find nowadays.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
true.
like
It's true.
because I'm not saying any names. I've been at cons, man. I ain't gonna dox nobody, but
Dox him.
I've been at
Get him,
I
son.
say the name. Give me the name. But no,
No.
I saw an artist. I saw an artist, man, and they were smiling in their customer's face, and they made the sale. Everything was good. Customer walks away, and the artist turns around and goes, "Ugh." I was like, "Whoa." Like that's what you think about your clientele? Like
I mean, there could be variables to that. Like, I get it.
I didn't judge it. I didn't judge it. My wife laughed. My wife laughed. I was just like, damn.
I love people that come to the booth. When I set up a booth, man, I love when people come to the booth. I get all kind of characters. I remember I had a dude who was a close talker. One of those like,
Oh.
hey, how's it going? Oh, this is really cool. And I go, yeah, man. I mean, and it's funny when you look back at it. In the moment, you're like, this guy's really close to my face right now. It's a little weird. And so, but the person leaves the booth and you kind of like laugh about it. It's not like to be mean or funny, but like just the scene itself. Like if this was a TV show, that guy was a close
Was it
talker.
just me, or was he really close to
He was
me
like right here. And I'm like,
talking?
he's like, I really like your shirts. And I'm like, okay.
That's the only way you're gonna grow on social media is to be social in the world,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
not on the platform. Because I've tried so hard to scale on the platform. It's literally like it feels impossible. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that it is. I'm just saying it feels impossible. It feels like there's nothing you can do to scale or grow. It's like
Right.
nothing you can do besides putting out an ad and having them increase your reach so
Mm-hmm.
that you can have other people that aren't in the norm seeing you. Because from what I hear about social media and the research I've done, only like 7% of your followers see your work. So
Mm-hmm.
so like basically they're not even allowing the people who intentionally followed you to see you.
If you
So
ever look at your post and or even your
mhm,
stories and
yeah,
see who's liking it,
mhm,
reposting, it's kind of the same people over. It's because
mhm,
Instagram's algorithms are showing the same people your stuff, like you said, at
mhm,
20%. So if you've got 2,000 followers, they're automatically showing 200 people the
mhm.
same thing.
What blows my mind is if I have 800 followers, why am I only getting 20 likes on something?
Right, right,
That's
right.
it's just odd because they follow me for a reason. They're not following me because it's just a thing to do. You know what I mean? Unless that's what you're doing with your page. But as far as it goes, if they and I post nothing but art on my page. I don't post random things like my dinner and stuff like that. I don't do that. I don't even post my son on Instagram like that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So, like the occasional picture of my wife, like because we're out at Disney or we're doing something. Um, but other than that, like no, like it's not really personable in that way for me.
I get you.
Um,
I have I've got two accounts. I've got a personal account for stuff like that, and I got the brand. But I realized for me, like I still post, GLK stuff. Here's the new shirt design. Here's the new
Yeah, yeah.
design. But I still make it more personal sometimes too. I'm like, here I am today at work, and everyone kind of, if you don't know, I work at Disneyland as a photographer, so I'll post on my pictures or my day in the park, and a lot of people like that kind of stuff too. So it ties into the brand. Like we can start,
Mhm,
being more of like, okay, I'm opening up the kimono. I am Christian Thompson. I am a designer. I work a 9 to 5. I've got a clothing brand. I'm doing this on my own.
mhm.
People become more like engaged and in the sense like married to you in a sense, like your brand itself. And they
Yeah.
kind of want to see those things. I show people like, hey, like I have I'm in a bedroom right now where I print some of my stuff, even though when you get it and you see it, it feels like top quality. It was done in a nice big warehouse kind of thing. I'm like, nah, right there, you
But I
know?
think that that's the best. I think that that's the best type of thing. Like I've done stuff for commercial clients, and I'm in my studio room. Like
Yeah,
it's a very small room. It's not even a big room. Like
I've
it
been
looks
there.
big
Yeah,
because I put the pictures on there, but like I've done stuff for professional people out of this room. Like
that's the thing, man. Us
no
creators
big
like to get
studio.
space and watch me work.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Like we'll get big studios when it's necessary, but at this point in time it's not really necessary. Like at least as long as you have your computer and your work, then who cares? You know what I mean?
You got
Like
room to do what you got to do. You can make it
yeah,
work.
no one's
Yeah,
looking at my work going, wonder what room he drew this in.
right. Is that the only room you draw in, or
Yeah. Is that the
studio?
because if I told you the picture where what clothing brand Nike was embroidering their pants, I'm sure you wouldn't be able to picture that room. That room does not look glamorized.
Right.
It is
I mean, at the end of the day, no one's thinking that. Like, oh, I
no,
wonder what
no,
the Nike warehouse looks like when they're making these shoes.
yeah,
You're like, okay,
no.
like the shoes or not.
Yeah, no one cares. Like they just look at the shoe and go, "Oh yeah," and that's
Right,
it.
right. I'm not
You
in
know what
Foot
I mean?
Locker going, huh, this is a nice shoe. But where do they get their shoelaces from? Is it the same warehouse that makes it? I don't care about that.
Who
Skip the
manufactures
shoe.
the shoe leather? I
Right.
wonder.
I wonder if this is this. No. Artists
Like,
don't feel like you gotta hide how you create. I mean, some things should be, I hide, the business stuff, but don't hide the creativity. Like we want to see that. We want to see creatives create because that's why
and I
we're
feel like
engaged in what you're doing.
this question complements what we're saying right now. How has expressing yourself through your brand shaped you as a person?
I've always been like, all right, I think when I started the clothing brand, it was like, okay, separate, yourself from the brand, be behind the curtains,
Mm-hmm.
like the unseen hands kind of thing. And that's always, I guess, with the cool guy mentality, like, yeah, I did this brand, but nobody knows who I am. Like, like, yo, I did this, but like, I wasn't even there. Like that was like the mentality I think when I started my brand, and that was such a room, a brick wall. It was such like a boundary, and I didn't understand like how it was holding me. It was hindering me from a lot of stuff. It was hindering me from making relationships with people and talking to people and making people feel more engaged with the brand. And I don't think it was until maybe 2018, 2019. Like I said, I've had the brand since 2006. So like 2018, 2019, I just kind of was like, I'm tired of being like the guy too cool to be on camera. Like I don't want to like talk to people kind of guy. Let me just flip it, just flip the switch. And I was
Mhm.
completely like, all right, I'm gonna start being a little bit more social and stuff like that. And so like a lot of my personality, I try to like put out into the brand. Like I personally wear a lot of black. Like it's just one of my favorite colors, just in general. So a lot of pieces that I create are in black, and a lot of people are like, oh, you have a lot of black within the brand. And I'm like, well, that's my personal taste. Like that's what I like because to me, everything pops off of the color black. Like even
Mhm.
the shirt that I'm wearing right now, with all the colors you see here, and like even the back of the shirt, like you see all that, right? Like
Yeah,
all
the
pops off
contrast is
the
really
color
nice.
black. And that's what I like. I want people to see something that looks a little mysterious, a little like, a little moody and be like, oh, but at the same time, it looks pretty cool because, I see the colors that are popping off of it. That's my personal style. And I love to adapt, like I said, and emulate styles from like Pharrell and Jerry Lorenzo and Virgil Abloh and kind of like see how I can take those, mesh into one big ball, and then take that ball and throw some other stuff in there, and then take it apart, flip it upside down, and then lay it flat. Like
Yeah,
how do
yeah,
I make
yeah.
it my own thing? So I think that's where I am with like putting my personal style within the brand.
So what creative advice would you give a younger version of yourself with that in mind? Like what would you say? Like how would you address that to a
Yeah,
younger version of yourself?
I'd say don't feel limited in what you can create, even if you can't create it right now. Create it just to create it for art's sake, make it. And then when you get a chance to actually say produce it, because for me a lot of stuff was like I can't produce, I don't have the money or the resources, but I have dope designs, so I would just design and create. That's what I would probably tell myself: just make it and just hold on to it. It'll come. Be patient, and don't be so, like I said earlier, kind of like in a box. Like
Mhm.
be able to be flexible to stuff. Like you may personally not like you may not like V-necks, but yo, you might have a dope design for a V-neck later. Don't say no
Yeah.
for a V-neck right now. You know?
Yeah.
So I think that's what it was. And also I think I would have told the younger version of me is like invest into, for one, your supplies, invest
Mhm.
into your supplies, and invest your time wisely with how much you put into the brand. I put a lot of time into the brand, but I think at the same time I was a young man and I had a lot of other things that I was doing. I was a nightclub
Mm.
photographer, and that was taking a lot of my time. And mainly because I was doing the nightclubs and doing photography, and people would book me for other stuff, and trying to go to like junior college to get a degree. And what I'm doing now, which I don't have a degree in, but I'm already doing it. So it's kind of like, all right, I
The
kind of,
world is full of lies.
I think as an artist, like the world is seeing like through artsy eyes. You're like, wait, I could learn how to be a designer
Mhm.
right now
No
and not have
school.
to say go through 4 years. I
Yeah.
mean, I went through some schooling, but it wasn't like I took all the classes in a sense. But then my art is like competing with those who have the degree that I'm like,
Mhm.
well, it's just the trial, error, and experience. I just had a tougher road to get to where you're at.
I'll
You
tell you
know?
this. My wife is not an artist. My wife is not, well, technically she is because she's like an esthetician and she does nails and stuff like that. But as far as
Yeah,
like being a traditional artist like myself, um, she's not that. She doesn't draw,
yeah,
is what I'm trying to say. But being around me, she's picked up so many different terms as to how drawing works.
yeah,
And she looks at my work and goes, okay, that contrast off of this and that. She's able to give me critiques because of my journey of learning my
yeah,
craft.
yeah.
So it just goes to show you don't need the education, you just need to be around the people doing it.
You need to be around the people who are doing it because they will
Yeah.
sharpen your skills.
Yep. Iron sharpens iron, man.
Iron
And that
sharpens iron.
iron sharpens iron. And a 4-year education's not gonna like it may. Some people have a very good result with education, but for myself, I don't think that that's how I learn. I'm a more hands-on learner.
Right.
I'm a person who's like, if you show me this once, I'm I got it.
I got
Yeah, artistically, that's how I've always been. If you show me this one time, I remember Dane showed me how to color one time, and then I came back with a piece, and he was like, "You just did this?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You learn quick," and I was like, "Bro, like, you're not gonna have to tell me twice on something, and if you do, it's because I may not be doing it correctly." And that's more of a skill thing than it actually is understanding the steps it takes to do the thing. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like even now, I remember how to clear a screen and use the emotion. I remember that you need one of those black lights to cure it. Like, and this is high school, so this was years ago, but I still remember like everybody was like, you need Corel Draw. You need
Oh my goodness. Go get you Corel Draw.
if it ain't
The best
Corel
out
Draw,
there.
then we're not using it.
All right, we
We're
were
not
dating
gonna.
ourselves, and we're talking about Corel Draw. We are
Hey, everybody who is an artist with a background remembers Corel Draw.
oh yeah,
Like,
Illustrator before Illustrator.
yeah, it was before Illustrator was popping. So
Yeah.
if it's not an in file of Corel Draw, then we're not gonna use it. We can't
Oh,
use JPEGs.
jeez. Oh my.
Like,
Uh,
like I remember that. Like I remember all like all of it. And this was like years ago. I haven't screen printed a shirt in years. But it's just like I remember like every like if you want to clear your screen, you have to spray it and then it has to dry. If it's not fully dry, then you can't. I remember all
yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just like I feel like a lot of people nowadays have to be visual learners because everything nowadays is visual. Like if you look at every single attribute of artistic expression, everything is visual. Everything's on a screen.
Yeah.
You're
Everything's
talking to
everything learns faster. Everyone's learning a lot faster now.
Mm-hmm. So I feel like what like in my mind it's like why don't if people stream, right? Why and this is what I haven't seen on stream. Maybe I haven't gone into streaming far enough, but I haven't seen people giving lectures and teaching certain subjects on stream. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. I literally haven't seen education on stream with people just donating certain things to keep the education rolling.
You
So
know,
instead of
probably out there, it's probably out there. I know for there's one stream or TikTok person that I follow. She teaches Chinese.
Yeah, well, I've seen that.
I'm like,
you know what I mean? But like tattooing, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Like I haven't seen let's say self-defense classes. You know what I mean? I haven't seen those types of things on stream. And keep this in mind, like you can monetize your stream to where not even just the people who are supporting you financially is giving you money, but now you have so many types of streamers where you're getting ad revenue. So you no longer have to be paid by those people because you're not only getting sponsorships, but you have ad revenue that's backing those particular streams. So you no longer have to support that streamer financially. It's the bigger corporations that are doing that. So education in a sense can be completely free.
Knowledge
completely utterly free. Yeah. All you have to do is watch the occasional video game commercial. Like
Man, this goes back to that snake oil. All right, y'all, I got something for you. This is how you're gonna make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Snake oil.
like, come on, man. They be killing us. I think I made a video about that. Like some person telling you they're the best at what they do and buy their course and all this stuff. It's like, bro, I've done it. I've dipped my toe into the river. And I was like, yo, this is trash.
Some are trash out there. Some are trash. You gotta find the ones that are good. Some people are selling you trash like get rich quick in 30 days.
Yeah.
No such thing as get rich quick in 30 days. Maybe 31, not 30 days.
Yeah, 30 years with that with those techniques.
You gotta weed them out. You gotta weed them out. There's some good ones and there are some trash ones out there.
Yeah, be careful, man. I got. I severely got. My money is gone.
I'm thinking this, man. I said my money is gone.
My money is gone.
Dude, I've been tapping in once again, which is just reading books. Just reading books, man. Reading books and kind of learning from the same thing, but like from a different industry. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like that helps out a lot because it's like you said, don't just drink from one well. Let's just drink from some other wells. What are they doing over there? You know, like it's the same thing. We're all trying to either create a service or a product, and we're all trying to do the same thing, which is, sell and commerce. So how are other businesses and companies doing it? You know, it's tapping into other wells.
I totally agree because like it gets to a point where you're just like, good Lord, like
Yeah.
I want the help, you feel like Kevin Hart, help me, help me.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Like, come
yeah.
on, man.
Yeah.
That's how you feel, and it's just, like, and I'm here to tell anyone I sympathize with that sentiment. Like, I sympathize with it. You don't always have to fall into what people create for you. You never like Disney created his own lane. He saw that there was nothing out there that was for him, so he just decided to create his own lane. You
Right.
can do that.
He
Like you,
left Missouri, I think it was.
yeah.
Disney
I watched the
expert quote.
story.
He left Missouri, came out to California, followed the dream, sacrificed, and made it happen.
Destroyed a whole orchard of oranges
Right.
to make his dream work.
Right.
Created his own lane to have his voice heard. And I feel like, yeah, that's hard. Like it's a hard road, but the reward from it is I now have a place that is representative of myself. And that's why I feel like creating these types of communities where people can understand your background, whether it be you barely pick up the pen yesterday or you've been doing this for 30 years, and see each other as equals and not some hierarchy thinking to where it's like, well, I've been doing this for 40 years and you're just new to this. Like, I don't like that mentality, because it's like these people who are learning now are going to be eventually the people that may be your peers later. You know what I mean? You never know who's going to be your boss or your art director or whatever the case may be. So looking at these people like they're lesser, or looking at these people like, oh, like monetization can happen from these people because they don't know much. You know what I mean? I feel as like that is low-key predatory. Like, in my mind, it's just like, I'm not like, kids hit me up all the time in my DMs about like just asking me questions about line work, or asking me questions about like, how do I get my colors the way that I get them? I tell them, I'm not going to be like, oh, well, buy my book. Like, no, I'm not going to do that to you. Like, that's foul. You support me. You just took the time out of your life to ask me a question. I'm going to answer the question. You know what I mean? I'm not going to leave you on red. Like, that's crazy. That's weird. That's like weird to me. I don't know. It's just, it makes my mind go, that's weird. Like, I read it. How would I feel if you sent it and I read it and didn't say anything?
It'd be funny, or I'm laughing to myself because I'm like, it'd be funny if like you read it and then like a week later, like, I'll let you know that I read your message. All right, bye.
Yeah, like come on, man.
Like, come on,
how gross do you have to feel to read somebody's like question to you? Because they're like most people aren't even social people. So if they, like, in my mind, I don't know if I'm thinking too far into it, but some people aren't social people. So when it comes to when it comes to them typing that message, how much did it take for them to do that and put themselves out there to even ask you the question, because they feel uncomfortable doing it, but they wanted to know? So you sat there and you're not knowing how hard it was for them to even press send, and they press send anyway against their sensibilities because they wanted to connect with somebody, and what they get is nothing. You know how like debilitating that might be to them, because it might not, like, you know what I mean? That's the way I think. So it's like, yo, if this person sent it, how many people are you putting tears on faces because you're not responding to them? And I know that's an extreme way to think about it, but at the same time that I know somebody out there was upset, like visually upset, because their favorite artist didn't say anything back to them.
You'd be mad. You're trying to reach someone like like yo Kanye, can I get some advice on how to make a t-shirt better? And then waiting for the response, and I'm like, yo,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like Kanye, I can understand. There's like freaking millions of people following this man. So I'm pretty sure this man's DMs, because he doesn't have them blocked.
It's artist to artist, bro. We both artists.
Kanye doesn't have anything blocked, but I can guarantee you, if you met that man in the street, he'll give you the time of day. He'll talk to you. He's
Oh
not
yeah,
gonna be like, "Yeah, I'm a
that's once
billionaire. Get out
again
of my
that
face."
being in person, artist to artist thing that we talked
Hmm.
about earlier. You know, that's what I
Yeah,
said.
he'll talk to
Social
you.
media like is cool at all. I feel like I put no pressure on the gram. You know what I'm
No,
saying? Like if I reach
no.
out to an influencer and be like, "Yo, I would love if you would rock my stuff here next video, whatever you're doing next," and we'll set up a promo code so when people buy it, you get like 30% towards the sale. Ghost. You know,
Yeah,
I just
like,
go,
come on, man.
okay,
And
on to the
and
next, on to the
and
next.
this is the
And it's whatever.
problem, though. You blow up, and somebody that they like is rocking your stuff. They try to hit you like, "Yo, like, when are you gonna send me some stuff, bro?" I DM'd you in 2014, my guy.
I DM'd you a long time ago.
Yeah, check your DM. Check your DM,
Check
bro.
the
Like,
DMs.
that was
But that's
2025.
but I like that though, because that lets me know that I worked hard enough to once
Hmm.
again be in their face. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like
yeah,
they
yeah,
may
yeah.
not have saw what I said, years ago, but now I'm like at the point where I'm like, yo, I've actually established myself to where we are face to
Hmm.
face now. I've worked
Yeah,
to be here, kind of thing.
yeah,
So now we're gonna work, and I like
yeah.
I
I'm gonna
like
take
that
all
way
your
of
money.
seeing it. Yeah.
I'm gonna take all. Matter of fact, you ain't even gonna get these shirts on compliment. You gonna get them for a price.
Matter of fact,
Taking
you
all
pay a
your
full
money.
price. You
Yeah.
and
You could have got them for free.
you could
They
have got
still
it
dope.
years ago how the DMs, but now look at you, full
so
price.
so salty, full price, brother.
You imagine
Oh,
being that dude, being that salty when you finally meet someone. Oh, now we meeting? Oh yeah, full price for everything.
hilarious, hilarious. That
Salty.
I would die laughing. I'd be like, rightfully
I
so,
laugh.
bro. Rightfully so. That's what you get.
I'd be like, I was playing with your man. That's all good.
Be on Rick James. Buy another one. You're rich.
I know you're rich. You can buy another one.
But the last question before, so we
Yeah.
can wrap this up.
Yeah, man.
So do you feel that as a designer, you need to know all the answers before pursuing your craft, or should you just start with what you have and what you know?
I think knowing all the answers before you starting your craft can cause fear. I
Mhm.
think when you know that there's risk involved and you know, like, if I try this, this could happen, cause an effect, that you create fear, and fear keeps you from actually creating. I feel
Mhm.
like when you start thinking, oh man, should I do this show? Should I know information about how this show goes? Should I read reviews and see what people say? People are like, oh, this show was difficult to sell at. Da, 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 da. I mean, that's their opinion, and that's a variable that I can't control. Maybe what I do is completely different, but I won't know until I actually do it. So I'd say, you know, there's going to be fears, but you have to not lean into the fears. Go out and try it, see how it goes.
Mhm.
You know, try things. Like honestly, that's the best way to learn everything is to go out and try it. You can do all the research, read all the books, do all that, but once you're out there, it's a whole different ball game. You're like playing for reals now.
There's a lot of fears that stop me from doing things, and then I had my son, and I was like, everything is never off limits. Ain't nothing off limits. I'm
Right.
I I'm not going to be afraid of how I look to people, because I used to be very afraid of how I looked, not only to myself but to other people, because I was asking things. So I would normally just be like, "Oh, I'm not going to ask because I don't want to seem
Mm.
like this, or I don't want to seem like that." But when my son was born, something in my mind was like, "Nah, eat everything."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. We eat everything. I ain't holding back. Is that
yeah,
yours?
nothing.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, eat everything, and it's not to be in a distasteful way. It's just to say that my mom always used to say, "A closed mouth don't get fed,"
Those mouths don't get
and
fed.
a closed mouth don't get fed. And if you're not going to go out there and put your best foot forward and articulate and ask, you know what I mean? You never know who's going to be willing to oblige you. You never know who's going to be willing to be like, "Yeah, come on in." You know what I mean? Like when I knocked on Dane's door, I was looking for floor mats for my car.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and I found an artist, a really good artist. And keep in mind, at the time, I thought I was really good. And I was sitting here like, like I'm the shit. You know what I mean? I'm walking around. Everybody likes my art. My friends like my art. My mom likes my art. Everybody. everybody I know anyway. And then I saw his art and I was like, I ain't shit.
Yeah, I need to learn something actually.
I need to learn. It humbled me quick. I saw it and I
Right,
was like, oh,
right.
oh, so this is what people are drawing like. Like this is a whole different thing going on here. So like, yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
Just start.
just
Just
start. Don't
no
be
matter what the situation is, just start.
to start. Don't be afraid to flap them gums.
Yeah.
My boy, DJ Cornbread, years ago, went with me to an event where I set up, and I was just young into like doing shows and events, and I was standing behind my table, and I'm just, hi, how you doing? Good to see you. And I'm like, dude, like I don't feel like I'm like really doing well here today. He's like, dude, you're stuck behind this table. You need to get out, flap them gums. And I was like, dang. And that's seriously, he told me that probably like 2013, and it stuck with me. Like it's
Yeah.
like over 10 years saying in my head, yo, flap them gums, go talk to people. Like
Mm-hmm.
tell people what you do. I think to kind of go back to what I was saying, like, oh, I want to be that cool guy behind the scenes. You know, I don't want to talk about myself too much.
Mm-hmm.
There was years where I should have been telling people I have a clothing brand. I have this brand that I've been building for forever. Like, check it out. Here's a card. Here's a sticker. I always was like, this? Yeah, I got a clothing brand. You know,
Yeah.
like that's not
Yeah.
like telling people like what you do and who you are. Flap your
Yep.
gums. Tell people. People are interested in you.
If no one knows, then
Nobody
how are
knows.
you like no one knows?
Yeah,
Like that's just the thing. Like it's very practical, but it's like if no one knows that you're doing what you're doing, because like on social media, their job on social media is to suppress your reach so that they can gain money from you. It's still a business. Even if it's a free platform that you can post on, it's still a business. So
right,
like ultimately, if these people don't know what you provide, what services you provide, and what things that you do, then no one's gonna know.
right,
And if they don't know, then how are you gonna reach a broader audience or a bigger audience? And I've always said this to myself: it only takes one person that's in a state of influence that can change your whole trajectory of your artwork. So don't think that you have to have millions of people liking your stuff. I want to thank you for coming in. So if you guys made it to the end of this video, thank you. Please hit that like button, subscribe. It'll really help us out and it'll be a huge help. I want to thank Chris for taking the time and sharing his time with me and everybody sharing his expertise in his clothing brand and chat with us online. And thank you guys for seeing this episode of Coffee Pixel. And I hope that you guys have a blessed one and a good day. And thank you guys for stopping by, man. Yeah, Chris, do you have anything that you're working on? Any last things that you want to let people know about?
You know, I honestly love the idea of doing a draw and drink. So I'm trying to find a local brewery where I can kind of do like a little community meet and greet. Wednesday nights, we get together, black books, pen, paints, and we draw and we drink. So I'm trying to like work on that right now.
Okay.
Other stuff keeps coming up. So everything's kind of like and in the works. So until then, it's the business as usual, just making sure the brand's good. Yeah. So anyone looking for a way to find me on social media, it's at GLK Clothing Co. That goes for all platforms. So as simple as that. And I hope we can connect.
Yeah. All right, man. Thank you guys for stopping by on this episode of Coffee Pixel, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Peace. Oh, the balloons. That's cool.